Ladies and gentlemen, this is Steelfest 2022, and no, we're super serious. We don't let any kind of a Marius to let intervene our thinking and conversation. We have a Belgian band, and they are very, very serious about things like waffles and black metal and dark beer and all kind of crazy shit. Let's introduce this band. What was your band called again? How do you pronounce it? It's very weird.
It is very weird. The proper pronunciation is Ars Veneficum, but we like to say it in the modern Latin English way, which is pronounced like Ars Veneficium.
That's really hard for us Finns.
Yeah, I guess so. But also for us Belgians, I mean, you have to learn be at least some known with the Greek, Latin language to pronounce it. So it's very hard.
No. A friend of mine, a Finnish person who happens to live in Brussels, have been living quite a while, and he was asking like, which city are you from? And then my mind was like, turning black. And I was like, what is actually the city you're from, and what is the metal scene like there?
Well, the city where I'm from is called Leopoldsburg.
Nobody can pronounce it.
No, it's a small village. It is named after our very first king. Because during the First World War, that was like the home ground where our army was, located, and still today, like the biggest military force of Belgium is located in our hometown. I don't live there anymore, but that's where Leopoldsburg was formed before. And when I was a child, 14, 15 years old, when I just got into black metal, played in my first black metal band, the scene there was pretty big. We had 2 big metal bars, and every Friday, Saturday, Sunday there was like at least 150, 200 people walking around town, and it's a very small village, so for us it was like a very big thing to have so many people walk around. And sadly enough, like when I turned 16, 17 years old, it died all at once, so it was like totally gone, and I don't live there anymore, so yeah.
Talking about your band, how would you describe it yourself for the people who are like, what is this band all about?
My music, my lyrical themes.
No, your band, musically.
The music approach is aggressive, I think, but also we have some atmospheric parts, but I think our main focus lays with the lead guitars, which are very melodic, very focused on the second wave of the Swedish melodic kind of wave, but it's different because we have like mid tempos, fast tempos, like very, slow tempos. So we don't really like to put ourselves in a box, because I don't like to, that people say we sound like this or that. So it's very difficult because some people, when we released the first album, people said we sounded like Marduk, which I don't really think we do at all. But I think they say that because of the blast beats. The first album is like very, fast forward, and now we have like a lot more variations during our music. So I think it's very difficult to say, but I don't really want to say we're melodic black metal, but I think we're between traditional black metal and melodic black metal. It's a mixture between the two, I think.
Now you mentioned traditional black metal. Do you refer more to the 80s or 90s?
Yeah.
Because before you go answering that, I know a lot of people when they talk about old school black metal, a lot of people talk about like the early years of 1990s Norwegian black metal, and then there's this different school of people who are more likely to talk about Celtic Frost and Bathory and Venom and things like that.
Of course. You have the first wave of black metal. I don't think our music sounds anything like that. I mean, the first wave of black metal is special because it was mainly thrash metal with black metal approach, what we have today. When you see the lyrics and that kind of stuff. But no, we don't sound anything like the first wave of black metal. I'm talking about the proper second wave black metal, the traditional black metal. When bands came out like Darkthrone with the harsher sound. When Satyricon, the first records when they have that crunchy sound in the riffing, that kind of stuff we bring in our music, but combined with the melodic melodies that we have, fast forward, fast riffing, very hard tempos, and then slow down into the atmospheric pace that we do, to create a lot of variation to keep people interesting. Because for me, I like Marduk, but when you listen to the whole album, for me, from the beginning till the end, it's one song. It's like, straightforward. And I like to create something that people will remember. It gets you in and then gives you time to rest and
So kind of a diversity, which
variation, a lot of variation. Yes, of course. I think that's very important, because especially in these days when there's so many bands out there because of social media, everybody has a reach. You can connect with so many people, and I think there's so many bands doing the same. Now everybody's trying to, innovate into the hipster stuff and do the post and atmospheric kind of stuff. We try to keep the old stuff, but with a lot of variation of the old stuff. Not be a band that only goes straight forward or only slow pace, but combine all of that together and with a good production sound. I think we still have some work, but I think we're getting there.
So which kind of bands or genres of music inspire you the most?
That's difficult to say. I don't really have a band that inspires me. I think, I have a favorite band, and my all-time favorite black metal band will be Dark Throne.
Which era?
Yeah, the first 3 albums after Soulside Journey. What they did by riffing and sound, every band that comes after has something that comes from that era. You can say what you want, but there's nothing that comes over that. Some people like Emperor or Satyricon or Immortal, and I like those bands too. But you cannot come close to Doctrine. What Doctrine did was special. Mayhem, they set the name and the genre, but Doctrine always kept it underground. And because they did it underground, they are still number one. And for me, that's very special. You cannot come close to that kind of attitude and music. I can even straight say, but cry if you think about how special music you can create like those guys. So
I second that.
Yeah, so I would not say that we focus our music on them because we don't sound anything like them. But if I have to pick a band that for me is number one in black metal all time, it would be Doctrine. No question about it.
What about the lyrics? If you had to describe your lyrics, and I know this is an annoying question because all the bands have different themes or different songs and different albums, but to kind of give a general idea what the band is all about in terms of lyrics.
For me, it's not difficult. It's hard to explain, but to say it in easy words, my lyrics are mostly about my own spiritual being, and spirituality. Drinks, dry mouth. But also, I have a great obsession with death. I love life, but I am obsessed with death because that is something we all have to go through at some point, and we don't know what will be coming. But it is something I long for, but I also am afraid for. And that's something strange to admit because all black metal bands, they talk about death and blah, blah, blah because it's something cool. But none say what it means to them. For me, when I sing about death, it's because I am literally obsessed about it. I'm obsessed by suicide, depression, that kind of stuff. I also undergo all those things multiple times as well, which is hard to admit as a man, but since it's an interview, and many fans ask me constantly, I'm just being honest. But my lyrics are, obsession about things that I really, undergo as a human being. And also my connection with Lucifer, as a free being to oppose.
It's kind of a rebel.
Yeah, to oppose God, the religion side. I will not say that I'm a pure Satanist because to be a pure Satanist, that's a strange word to use. But I can say I'm a pure Luciferism because for me, Luciferism, and that part of Satanism is freedom. And I think if you can understand that and, accept that and be that your light and life and live by that, you have a great way to go and to get self-knowledge. And that's my main source of lyrics.
Now we all know that mentioning things like Satan and Lucifer are kind of like a red cloth for people who have nothing to do with metal. But
talking about freedom and the possibility to express your freedom doesn't sound too strange to people all around the world. I mean, it doesn't matter where you come from. Everybody likes to enjoy the possibility to express their thoughts or freedom of speech and all that stuff. So could we say you could basically relabel the whole Luciferian thing as something like, hey, we're freedomists or whatever?
You can, but it's also the attitude. I mean, for me, people in the black metal scene, it's all about, these days, about the trueness and that kind of stuff. For me, personally, I lived through that when I was a child. When I look at the scene today, I have to laugh because the scene is a joke, in my opinion.
Why?
Because it's a gimmick.
More importantly,
it's a gimmick.
Is it a good or bad joke?
It's a bad joke.
Why?
Because I think too many people try to be something they aren't. And I think that's what's also killing the scene, because there's too many people being involved into the music that aren't really living the music. And that's what's created the dividing between actually in the genre between bands. That's why also some festivals are having more problems, booking bands like Steelfest has. Well, there's nothing wrong with the genre, because other bands, have people in there who doesn't live the spirit what black metal is, the true spirit for me, which is Luciferism, freedom, the free mind of thinking. If you don't like this music, if you don't live this music, then don't play it. And for me, that's a big thing, and that's why I think this whole scene has become a big joke.
The talking about this joke thing is very fascinating for me, because I've noticed basically the same thing, but I've also noticed some kind of a elitarian mindset that more you express and more you exposure give to this whole scene, the more kind of a mainstream is it become, and then you let more people in. And there I am doing my part of giving exposure.
Of course, I do the same with the label.
Yeah, but do you think with you as a band member, as a label dude, or me as a review guy or interviewer guy, do you think we're actually participating, making the scene worse or better?
No, I think that's a different aspect, because as a reviewer or a Zine, you do media, and we all do our parts, and me as a label owner, I represent my band, so we have our part. But I think when bands start to play black metal who don't live the spirit, and start complaining to festivals because there's a band playing that they don't really like, that's a whole different mentality. I'm not speaking about the right-wing stuff, because that's a whole other topic. But even normal bands like Mogwa or Horna or even my band are getting this kind of
cancelled.
Problems, because other bands are, in my opinion, not really black metal, but are trying to be and not living the spirit. They don't understand what the music is about, are trying to get into the scene, and it's getting a big, dividing into the music, and this doesn't work. And that's what I meant before, like, if you don't understand the way of the music and the way this life is, then don't get involved. Focus on other music.
Could we say that people who don't actually understand the whole concept of black metal are the worst ones to cancel the whole genre?
No, they are the ones who should be cancelled.
But they are cancelling us instead.
They are.
Now, talking about that, I was talking about, this was already a few years ago, like I was making basically the kind of a sarcastic statement about let's make black metal dangerous again when things are cancelled. I mean, Tolkien was cancelled in the United States for kind of a really stupid accusations, like somebody digging up something like 15 years old and all that stuff, which are not relevant. And we all see this happening, not only at Steelfest, but various events like, okay, there's one person who did this and that some 10 or 20 years ago, and we gotta get everything cancelled. But at the same time, we get this feeling of danger again, like these are way too dangerous bands to even play a show. So could they be seen as a kind of a positive thing, or is it just all negative thing happening?
This is a tricky question. I mean, the way you pronounce it, yes. I mean, it sounds dangerous, I think for those bands, the status is kind of, it looks dangerous, like, oh, they're dangerous bands, But I think the bands, who are living that kind of, status or undergoing that stuff, they just want to play their shows, you know. They want to present their music, their art. They want to connect with their fans. They want to deliver their shows. And it's very hard when you have like constantly like a show booked and 3 weeks before the festival you got cancelled because some visitor, you know, mails the festival like, oh, but they played on that festival and there was this band and this band and this band. I mean, like I already got mails that we played here today because Steelfest was a controversial festival. I said, controversial? This is just a pure extreme metal festival in my opinion. One of the best and finest in Finland and biggest, you know, so I am glad, I am actually honored that we could play here. And if people would like to damage my band and me as a person for what other bands predict about, you cannot, you know, connect me with what other bands do. I am not here for them. I am here, you know, to represent myself and my band and my, you know, my spirituality and what I deliver. You cannot say like, oh, but you play with that band, so I'm gonna harass you.
Yeah, it's almost like, okay, so your neighbors to Germany, so you have to be there for 1940s.
Yeah, it's
people to blame for.
It's going nuts, and you know, it's been going on in America for like 15 years. It's been going on in Germany for like 15 years, and I mean in all of Europe. But like the last 10 years, it was here and there. But right before Corona, it got even worse. And since there hasn't been shows for 2 years. I don't know what's happening, but people have time or something. They're all been like, oh, check Metal Archives and blah, 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 blah. And suddenly every festival is like being pinpointed. Every band's being pinpointed because some band played somewhere and then that band played that guy and that guy. It's. I mean, how can... I had the same conversation last night with some other guys here. Like, if I had that much free time, I would not spend it on that. Like, seriously, to all the people who are watching this, how can you have that much free time? Seriously, I envy you, because if I had that much free time, I would be more productive to myself and to my band and to my art. Like, seriously, get a life.
I mean, like, you could have sex, you could have workouts, you could drink beer, you could cultivate the garden,
go to the fucking gym, you know.
But he said, no.
Be healthy. No, seriously, I think it's, I mean, is this the world that is waiting for us? Because, I mean, social media is getting more and more oppressive, TV is getting away, radio is getting away, so... And everybody has access to social media, but it's, like you said, the word dangerous. I don't think the bands are dangerous. I think this kind of mentality, the people,
that is the dangerous thing.
The people are canceling us as bands because we as bands, we don't harm anybody. We just want to play our show. And people might think like, oh, look at this guy. I have no right-wing connections. My label is not right-wing at all.
What about left-wing then?
Not at all. I'm neutral. I don't take political sides.
Switzerland.
I'm neutral. Yeah, true. No, I'm neutral at all. I mean, I just do this for the music. You know, my label has no right-wing band. I never release a right-wing band. You know, I don't have nothing against them, so make that sure too. I don't pick sides. I think everybody has the right to express their art. That's freedom of speech.
Now people,
that's democracy.
Now people will pick up that word. You have the right and suddenly connect. Okay, just talking aside. Talking about these political connections and all that stuff, one of the promoters, which I won't publicly here announce, pointed out that there are actually lots of bands that are now being formed as kind of anonymous lineups in order to avoid all these possible controversies, but basically having people and members who are kind of on the safe, neutral territory. Do you think this is a healthy approach dealing with the problem, which is very toxic, or is it actually making things worse?
Okay, I have two points on that. Like, band-wise, healthy, no. But I see, you know, how you say, I can understand why they do it, because they want to play shows and they don't want to be connected. So I totally understand it and I respect that, because there's no other way to do it and get around it. The other side is, it's, you know, it's the problem of the promoters. Promoters and venues, you know, they're being bashed by emails, you know, from all sides, and they're all being weak. I mean, when was black metal was all about, you know, provocation, you know, being extreme, you know, we're the outcast of the metal scene, you know, pour all your hatred into this music, you know, all your worship, you know, and pour it out into the world. And today you cannot do this because if you book some band like even Mugwa or Dus Mortem or Infernal War, you're already being banished because it's a Polish band and they have connections. They're not even right-winged, but because they're Polish and have some connections, they're being banned. So it's not up to the bands anymore. It's up to the promoters and to the venues to stay strong and say to all those hate mails like "fuck off," this festival or this show is going to happen. And that's why, seriously, again, I am fucking honored to be here because Steelfest stays strong. It's one of the last festivals,
Last beacons.
Last beacons. This one, Throne Fest, Inferno, but Inferno is not really that underground. But I mean, Throne Fest and Steelfest and Under a Black Sun, those kinds of festivals, they stay strong. Keep the real underground of black metal alive. And I'm really afraid because I think within 10 years from now, I really am afraid of that.
Now you've been here for a while.
Yes.
And I've been here for plenty of years, and I cannot really say all those bad reputation things are not happening in that sense. But what is your experience over? Have you seen a lot of hands going about, like before the stage, like the reputation?
What you mean, like here on Steelfest? Or?
Yeah, like the kind of a Sieg Heil things. Have you witnessed that being happening?
I personally really haven't. Like during our show on stage, I've looked at people. I didn't really see anything. After my show, somebody came to me and said that some drunken guy, was doing, the thing at us during our show, but I didn't see it. If I would, I mean, he apparently was drunk. I mean, are you always going to, convict a whole band or a festival or a whole scene because of one drunken guy? I mean, when people are drunk, they do stupid things. It's, that's what we've done as long as, humanity lives, So can you really pinpoint that one stupid guy from the video that's like, doing
exactly.
that stuff and like condemn the whole festival and all the playing bands? No, fuck that guy. He was drunk. Don't pay attention. Let him be. He had a good time. He didn't know what he do. I mean, I cannot say words on, do I do it? No, I never do it. I will not never do it. The only thing what I do when I look at bands is like throw my fist maybe and yell if I really like it and headbang, Am I a musher? No, like I'm not that old, but I'm getting old, so fuck it, no.
Don't play the age card with me.
But besides that, no, I haven't seen anything, but apparently I heard that one guy did it during our show, which I find sad actually, because as you know, we are not a right-wing band. My music has no political views at all. We're about, my spiritual being and about my, obsession, so...
Let's talk a little bit about your label. You've been running this Immortal Frost for quite some time, but not always, but have kind of figured out what the fuck is Immortal Frost. I mean, let's face it, water is kind of organic, but it's not actually living. So you have an immortal version of water that's frozen. What's up with the name?
Well, the name was actually not picked by me. As not many people know, but it is true, the label was founded by my partner back in 2009 in Australia. And he actually founded the label. The guy from Astral Winter, who is still on my label, he founded Immortal Frost Productions because he wanted to release a demo of his Astral Winter, the first demo. And I joined him later, so he picked a name. But in Australia, there isn't much winter at all, but when they do, all their waterfalls and lakes, they're like frozen as like unbelievable. Like he sent me photos of that, like in the past. It was crazy because like when we have winter here, they are like having Christmas in spring shorts and go to the beach. So that was crazy to hear at first, when I was 19 years old. So actually he picked a name because he wrote that his first demo during our summer of 2009. It was released in August 2009, but back then in Australia it was the hardest winter he could have. So and he lives on the island of Tasmania, so they had like everything frozen. And so yeah, and since he plays like melodic black metal and all his teams are focused on, you know, icy winter and kind of stuff, the name actually comes from there. So he picked a name, and I joined the label like 3 months after he founded it, but he released, it was a self-release demo, and I don't know, it just has a nice ring to it, you know, when you short off like EFP. I mean, I just kept it, you know, I joined and he left in 2011, I think. He said, you can have it all because you're doing everything from Belgium. I just have to sign the contracts. You do everything with the bands, the production, distribution, you know. He just had to sign everything what I did, and he said, you can have it. And I was like, you know, to keep your memory alive, what you started, I will keep the name. I will just change the logo design, but I will keep the name, and that's basically it.
What is the driving force with your label?
Passion, undying passion. It's like, you know, to say so, short time. To go personal, you know, you grow up with no love, no family, no nothing, you know, that kind of shit. When you grow up alone, and the only thing you have in life is music, you know, and that's all I had, you know, from young age till I was like, you know, 11, 12, I got like into the Sex Pistols, you know, Exploited, Metallica, Iron Maiden. I've been fans since I was 7 years old, that kind of stuff. But once I was 13, I got into black metal, you know, Immortal Frost Dark Throne, that kind of stuff, and also Dying Fetus, you know, some death metal. And at some point, you know, I started to play music when I was 14. I started playing guitar. I was singing in my first black metal band when I was just before 15 years old, I think, and everything was going well. And when I was by the age of 19, I've already played in 3 black metal bands, recorded a lot of stuff, which was never released, unfortunately. Years later, some stuff came out as well. But when I was 19, I had like, creating music alone was not enough. You know, like my love, my passion for this kind of music is so intense. It's all I have. You know, it's a big word because, of course, I have my girlfriend, I have my house, I have my cats. You know, I love cats, we all do. But this music is what, you know, got me through my difficult life. You know, from young age till now, it still does. And I always wanted to do more than just create music. I wanted to, you know, reach my hand to other, you know, bands who have potential but nobody listens to, because I have, of course, now signed some bigger bands in the underground like Azaghal, The Stone, Corpus Christi, and Krijf and all that kind of bands. But I still find some, you know, jewels, you know, like Lichtblick, which you kind of like, you know, the impressive band of Austria, which nobody would listen to because they're a small band. And with social media, there's too many bands out there, and the big labels, they only focus on, you know, the popular bands. So, you know, if I can, you know, give back that kind of how you say, support to those bands, what this music gave to me when I had a difficult childhood.
Kind of a positive payback.
Yeah, you know, that's all I want. I mean, of course, it's my main job now, but it's not like I driving a Bentley or anything, you know. So no, but
if you could choose which one you would rather have in order to make your livelihood, band or label?
Oh, that's a tricky one, man.
I love tricky ones.
Yeah, no one, and no interview, no one asked me that. That's I never actually thought about.
I mean, if I was like pointing a gun in your head, make your choosing.
There's so many, you know, comes and goes, and I mean, band is all fun. I can, you know, express my own depression, my hatred, my everything I am into it. You know, I can pour my soul into my music. But my label is like another side. Like I can not, black metal is not about helping people. I know, you know, we don't like to admit that, you know, it's like, oh, we're true, but no, but as a label, you do help people, you support them, you guide them, you know. That's what I'm doing, you know, like Frostmoon Eclipse, they've been around for 25 years on Osmoose Productions. They never rose, and I'm helping those guys, and they're finally seeing some results now because I guide them through the digital era that we do. So for me, it's very hard because, I mean, my label is, I can help music that do the music, but my own music, I can release myself. So I don't know if I can pick. I mean,
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I don't even, I can't answer, man. It's it's both or nothing, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Any plans for, say, next couple of years with the band?
Yeah, we are writing the third album because our second one was released on 28th of February 2020, and 2 weeks later Corona hit us. So yeah, we had like the Chinese tour, we had the South American tour, we had a lot of festivals, everything was cancelled. So
it's not like only people are canceling you. Yeah. It's epidemic also. Boom.
Yeah, that was a harsh one because like album came out and 2 weeks later everything went south way. But since then, I mean, the first year of Corona we were like a bit silent, but we have now like I think 6 songs completely finished almost, and 2 like in pre almost written. So I think we have like almost 8 songs, you know, written in tabs and instrumentals, and I think in the next month I can start with working on the lyrical concept and lyrics. So the third album is on the way and hopefully to be released next year, which would be our 10th anniversary of the band. So that will be something to look forward to.
Now we will conclude the interview with 1 sentence or 2 of wisdom.
Okay.
So your wisdom in terms of philosophical matters, what would you tell to the audience? What would be your number 1 life guidance?
Willpower.
All right.
Willpower, like what I've been through. If you don't have willpower in life, you will never succeed what you want to achieve, you know. So you have to stay true to yourself, even if people pick on you, bully you, laugh down you. Be true to yourself. Willpower. That's what I've always been like. You know, just go straight forward and keep true to your own vision.
That's a very, very good ending statement. So now, dear audience, take a look at this band, give them a fair listen, and listen word to the wise. This is Rauta, Steelfest 22. See you on the other side, and thank you for this fine conversation.
Thank you, man.
See ya and take care.
Cheers.
Thank you so much. This was a really, really, really fun. And first of all, like you said yesterday, it was finally really, really cool to meet.
Yeah, after 10 years, man.
Yes.
It's been a
time flies. Like
it's
when having fun.
No, I'm actually glad that we, you know, finally speak and